Hi class. For this lecture about team building, I'm using as a basis a set of slides from an organization that I really believe in, Toastmasters. Wonderful organization for improving your communication and leadership skills. I'm very involved in the organization and I really love it. And if you've never checked out a Toastmasters meeting, I highly recommend it. Anyway, I'm using their slides for this team building presentation. First of all, the definition of a team. A team is a group of people who work together to accomplish specific common goals. They share responsibility for their tasks and depend upon one another to achieve them. Teams are the most effective means of achieving an organization's mission and goals. Now, the corporate benefits to a team are that team members have a variety of knowledge and skills in accomplishing the organization's goals. It's the old two heads are better than one idea. You know, we blend skills together with the hope that we can fill in gaps where, you know, one person doesn't have skills that another person has. And then teamwork results in more creativity and greater productivity. Now, if you're a leader, having a team work with you enables you to have more time to devote to leadership issues and the organization's mission, because obviously the work is spread out. You know, that's why we're doing a virtual team assignment in this class, so that the activities in that assignment are spread out among several class members. And then in a leadership situation, in a day-to-day situation, the leader would have to spend less time day-to-day on supervision and activities. Now, in a situation where you can have control over putting your team together, which may or may not be the case in this class, you want to organize the team in the best way possible to make it the best possible team. And well-functioning teams do not occur naturally. They must be carefully selected and trained. So the following 7 steps will help get a team organized and working effectively as quickly as possible. You want to select team members who are competent, reliable, motivated, enthusiastic, hardworking, intelligent, and collaborators. I'm sure you've all experienced teams in school or in professional situations where you have a slacker on the team who does not pull his or her weight. So when you have a choice, you want to look for those qualities in your team member. Next, you want to review your goals. You're going to want to discuss with the team the general goals they'll be working toward, and then how those goals fit in with the organizational goals. You want to let the team set its own more specific goals. Team members are more likely to feel a sense of ownership about the task to be done if they have had a role in setting their specific goals. They'll become more committed and more enthusiastic about their work. Next, you have to establish parameters. Agree on the rules and procedures the team will follow. This is often called setting the norms for the team. Rules and procedures can be determined by asking, how will team members communicate with each other and with a leader? In your virtual teams project, the whole idea is to communicate primarily virtually, so by email or text or chat or that kind of thing. Then you also need to decide how will problems be solved and who has the authority to make decisions. Next, you need to develop a plan. You want to work with the team to develop a realistic plan of action that will help the team members meet their goals. You need to assign roles and responsibilities. The team and the leader must identify the responsibilities of each team member and ensure that all responsibilities are addressed. The team members need to understand how their responsibilities relate to one another and to the team's goals. Next, you need to establish measurements to create accountability, which also lead to productivity and results. So you need to agree on how the leader will monitor the team's performance, how often the leader will monitor the team's performance, and you need to discuss the standards the team is expected to meet. So a good example with the Virtual Teams project is your standard is going to be your grade. And then when you need to talk about when feedback will be given on how well the team and individuals met these standards. So some of that feedback obviously comes from me as your instructor, but you will probably want to set up ways to give each other feedback. Finally, you need to build team trust, and trust grows when members are truthful, members and the leader are seen as equals, members speak openly with one another, members are willing to listen to each other, and members fulfill their responsibilities. Next, we come to the idea of empowerment, which is so incredibly important. It's such a fundamental principle of leadership, so incredibly important for all the team members to feel empowered. Working with teams emphasizes how a leader must focus less on what he or she can accomplish as an individual and more on how a leader can empower others to accomplish goals. The success of a leader depends upon the ability to share power with others and let them direct their own work. A leader will be more successful when he or she lets everyone contribute as much as they can. A leader's role is to inspire and empower team members to assume more responsibility, authority, and autonomy. Now, in a real-life situation, you want to make sure that your team is trained. In this Virtual Teams project, you will be somewhat self-taught. You'll use your textbook, you'll use some of the other resources, and of course, I hope you'll call on me if you need help with developing teamwork skills. But in a real-life situation, the careful selection of a team does not guarantee that its members will begin working well together immediately. They may have difficulties at first, and that doesn't mean that the leader has failed. Rather, it may mean that the team needs training. You just need to learn some more team concepts. So, among the concepts that we want to try to learn as a team are problem solving. That's extremely important, and that relates directly to this Virtual Teams project because you are going to be solving a specific problem, looking at a made-up scenario of a communications process that you want to convince your supervisor to improve. So you're going to pretend that you all work for the same organization and you all have the same supervisor and you want to convince him or her to improve a communication process that isn't working well. You also want to hold effective meetings. A good way to do that is to keep your meetings to a very specific time. And as a matter of fact, that's a big tenet of Toastmasters. We always start on time and end on time, and that's a really good way to run a meeting. And then you also want to know how to organize. Organizational skills are extremely important in teamwork. And project management skills are extremely useful as well. Setting up timelines and deadlines and so forth. You want to have opportunities to practice team skills such as communication, which is obviously extremely important to this class, and conflict resolution. What are you going to do if your team has a conflict, if you can't agree to things? So by providing any needed training, a leader will help the team function more effectively and be successful. Now, in this situation, you're going to train yourselves or look for other resources and come to me if you feel like you need to develop some of the skills. So now we come to the meat of the matter in terms of a communication class, where we're going to talk about fostering communication within the team. Communication obviously is vitally important to any team effort. To establish a collaborative and trusting team environment, members must feel comfortable openly discussing issues and asking questions. Open communication between a leader and the team members and among the team members themselves results in high morale, pride, willingness to take risks, willingness to change, and efficiency in resolving disagreements. A leader can foster communication by holding regular meetings and even social activities that will allow members to interact and bond. And if you are not in a situation where you can meet face to face, how about social media as your social activity? Your group could form a Facebook group if you wanted to try to socialize and communicate about your project and about others. It's really all about respect with integrity, and we're going to talk about the leader's changing role. But first, I want to mention that team members must show respect for one another and act consistently and with integrity. These behaviors promote loyalty and commitment to achieve the goals and objectives of the organization. Now, the leader's changing role. As the team grows and matures, the leader's role will change too. Initially, the leader will be deeply involved in forming the team and closely supervising its work. As team members settle into their roles, the leader's role will become problem solver and facilitator, then coach. Eventually, the leader's role will primarily be that of monitor, tracking the team's performance and recognizing achievement. Now, here I want to mention that for this virtual teams assignment, I am not making a specific requirement that your team have a leader. I think it's likely that a leader will probably emerge in your team. So it will be really interesting to see the evolution of a leader in your team, and that may be something that you want to reflect about and talk about toward the end of the class, about whether roles have evolved, whether the leader really did emerge in the team, or whether you kind of all took a leadership role. So that's something that we'll really want to monitor and watch how that all plays out. In conclusion, learning how to form and lead a team is critical to becoming a successful leader as well as a successful communicator. If the leader cannot facilitate the team building process and help team members work together efficiently and effectively, the organization's mission and goals will not be achieved. So by carefully selecting, organizing, and training a team, a leader will harness the skills and talents of team members and take the organization to new levels of growth and achievement.